Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to Monday night's Talking Town Extra Time. Although technically, is it extra time when the Sunday show was Talking Town to Talk to? More on that in just a little while. But welcome one, welcome all to your platform, the chance for you to have your say in your own words, unfiltered and live, as we do every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and then mostly after. Well, we try and make it after every game. I can't promise it certainly will be, but there is a live match reaction show from Saturday's Nedham Market game. And I thought that is a great place to start. With no transfer news today, I'm going to do something that's a little bit different to Talking Town, how we normally operate on a Monday night. We're going to close the show with a talk with one of our talk twos, in the sense of Cruncher sat down with Rovers fan, Bristol Rovers, that is, Charlie, in a get to know series. We're going to end with that, but we're going to start with Saturday's game against Nedham. And joining me is Mr. Colin Plum. Colin, welcome, my friend. How are you?
Absolutely fine, thank you, Gov. Yeah. Enjoyed some lovely company on Saturday with your dear self and Mr. Nunn. Yeah, and Mr. Rattle, I may add. And
Of course. The Three Musketeers became Four Musketeers when Mark finally found us at half time. Bless him. But for those that don't know, obviously you came with me on Saturday to the Nedham game, and George, as you mentioned there, 2 30-minute games, lots of goals. It's Monday night though, so how are you feeling about it now? Obviously, it's about minutes in legs predominantly, but as always, who sort of stood out for you from Saturday's game, Colin? Who really sort of made themselves a good start to pre-season?
that's a good question, Martin. And thinking back, I mean, obviously there's a lot of toing and froing and people going off, people going. Obviously we had two different teams over the two halves. But I've got to say, standout people for me were possibly in the first half. I thought Humphrey's done okay. I thought Dominic Ball looked an absolute monster in there. I thought, yeah, he'll do for me kind of thing.
I agree.
Dominated in there. Dominic dominated, I would say.
Dominic dominated. That's it's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah. But like
not normally how nicknames go.
Yeah, but like I say, going on about the first half, I mean, I was very impressed at the back. Corrie looked an absolute beast at the back there. Obviously been on the weights, as had Wolfie. I noticed Wolfie has beefed up even more as he keeps putting in his little clips. Look at me, I'm massive, and he is. But yeah, I mean, and also Carl Edwards. Carl Edwards, very, very lively on the right-hand side. Most of the stuff as usual going down that side, but I thought Carl looked really useful.
I have to write some of these down. There's so many names. Let's start with Dominic Ball. You picked out Don Ball there. Is he your starter, Colin? Is it's only one game, admittedly, but is he going to be the guy lining up alongside Sam Morsey? Is that still Lee Evans' shirt to lose? How do you see that midfield conundrum?
Well, look, I do like Lee Evans, to be perfectly honest with you. But if somebody said to me, that's my last 50 pence, who would you put it on? Who will start against Bolton Wanderers? Injuries, injury free. I would probably definitely put it on Dominic Ball, if I'm honest. I mean, the bloke looks ready-made for that role alongside Morsey, I think. That's how I see it anyway, Gov, so...
Yeah, Mike D's the same. Ball for him. I want to give a big shout out to Adrian Garrett, who's had good news today. He's cancer-free. Adrian, you smashed it. Well done. Really, really well done, Adrian. This is what starts the season. This is a winning year, Adrian. I'm so happy for you. So happy for you. Well done. Enjoy your evening. Listening to the GOAT tell you just what he thinks of Saturday's blockbuster start to pre-season. Now, I said something on the reaction show, Colin, which I a couple of people have picked up on, such as Mike D. Edwards, still, I said I would look to loan him out next year, predominantly because he's a player with a bag of potential that I want to see progress and become the player the potential has to show he can be, as opposed to sort of stagnating on the bench, getting 15 minutes every other week, trying to force his way past Wes Burns, which, you know, all due respect, with all things considered, if Wes Burns does what Wes Burns does best, or did what he did last year for sure, that's a tough gig for any player, particularly one such as Carl Edwards. That's not me saying Goat isn't good enough to contribute. That's just me saying it's a numbers game. What do you make of Carl? It's one game. It's Nedham Market, but from what you've seen of him so far, what do you make of it?
Well, like I say, you know, I think, you know, is he the polished diamond right now? Probably not. But do I think we could do with him in our quest to get out of this Mickey Mouse League this season, which we have to do? I see your point, Gov, to an extent, but look, and I hate disagreeing with anybody on this channel, I swear that, but I've got to say, I think I would like him about, if you know what I mean. Because at the end, at the end of the day, Martin, we've got to look at stuff like this. You know, God help, hope you know it doesn't happen. But I mean, you know, Bolton first game, Forest Green Rovers second game. You know, Wes could quite easily get a bad ankle injury or whatever, and let's face it, he has had a few injuries over the last season. You know, he's been limping here and there because he gets lumped. He gets lumped. We all know that now, and he's a target. He's got a target on his back, and because of that reason, Martin, I would probably like to see Carl about, if you know what I mean.
Okay. All right. And before I let you go and bring in Mr. Positivity, go. Where are we weak still? Where are we short? Where would you like to see the latest transfer news update in regards to what position? Where would you like that to be?
I still hope and pray we bring at least two in. I'd like to see us bring possibly another forward in, and I would possibly like to see another attacking midfield player.
Okay. Which was the more important one for you? Which was it's almost like, look, if I had to make a decision, season starts tomorrow, we need this one now. Which one are we? Because I thought Greg Lee did well on Saturday. It is Nedham, but I thought he did okay. Where are you?
If I was going to go one out of the two, I'd probably go for another forward. Although I thought Ladapo done really well, really well. Nothing. And also another thing I'd like to say, Martin.
Go for it.
Chaplin, what a difference that lad made when he came on. Look, I'm not saying it because he scored 3 times. I'm saying it about what he brought to the party when he came on.
Yeah,
he absolutely dominated, and he was so busy. I know you like busy players, Martin.
I do.
We were saying that about Young Who's. Another one we didn't mention, Young Who's, busy. Yeah. And he played very, very well. I think he's got a future at Town. I really do, that young lad. But Chaplin was first class Saturday, and I must admit, I think we're going to see potentially a player of the year there this season if he's played, which I'm sure he will be, played in the right position in that little hole. Where he can kind of be his own little boss, so to speak. I think we can see a potential player of the year there this season. I really do. Very. And I noticed, even though he's short, most of them anyway, I noticed Chaplin had beefed up a bit. And also, after the game, I went and watched their weight session over on the AstroTurf. Oh my God, Chaplin was lifting probably more on his own body weight. Unbelievable strength that old lad's got. Honestly, he really has. Yeah, potentially a player of the year, I think.
Don't forget you can catch him on this platform from last season. Go and check out that interview. That will never get old. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Right, Goat. We love you. Thank you for jumping in and telling us your Nedham thoughts. Hopefully, we'll speak again soon through the season. Well, I'm sure we will. Of course we will.
Take
Look
care,
after yourself. Right, we've got some comments coming in. We have got Norman Greenwald. All three of our new signings are 6'2" plus. Hopefully, more set piece goals and less likely to be bullied by some of the League One pub teams. Fair point. Mike D. Interesting making a player four at the back. If you started the season with four at the back, is Donatian good enough? Right back, maybe KVY. Look, eyes behind the goal, Mike, at pitch level. So it's always hard to sort of really pick out formation and tactically what was going on. But I think four at the back, maybe just by the numbers, but Donatian certainly never crossed the halfway line in the first 30 minutes. So I don't know. I couldn't say for sure if it was a four as in a traditional right back, or it looked to me there live that Edwards was playing right wing back. But like I say, I from pitch level, you know as I do, Mike, you can't really see much. But talking of seeing much, you wouldn't be seeing anything if it wasn't for these fantastic Talking Town fifth standers while I mess around with my lights here and get them standing up instead of falling over. A huge thank you to every single monthly supporter of the platform that goes to the link in the chat, the description, to commit some financial money, I guess, for a better word, to the platform. We couldn't do it without any single one of you. So thank you. Right, joining me now is, for the first time on a Monday night, certainly for this season, has he been on a previous season? I don't know, but he's here. Mr Positivity Neil Mowles.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
Good man, here he is.
Hello there.
We're not going to dominate any team. Hopefully that's going to be a change this season, I guess, now. How are you, first of all? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Good man. Norman says Norman said about our signings being 6'2". The Goat says they're about the weights they were lifting. Do you think that's something we've lacked as a football team, Neil, for a number of years? That athletic specimens, the people that are athletes, not just pub players, as Norman says.
Well, I know for years we've always been told we've got the fittest team out there. I think at times we've questioned the truth behind that, but of late we've had a stylish, playing style, but we've lacked a little bit of cutting edge, and I think these sort of players will help with that. Absolutely,
and obviously Connor Chaplin there. Goat was sort of touching on it a little bit. Now the Goat's a really big Sonny Aluko fan now. He absolutely loves him. Busy player, great player, for the Goat. I'm more of a Connor Chaplin fan. I think Connor Chaplin's our best number 10. If you had to pick the team for Bolton at home, 3rd of July, who's your current 10? Is it a Sonny Aluko? Is it a Connor Chaplin? Or maybe we don't yet have it in the building?
I prefer Aluko out wide, if I'm honest. Chaplin is busy. He has a lot of good things, but sometimes I see a lot of, he looks like he's quick when you're watching him, but I know he doesn't always have that end product. He is busy, but he just isn't that absolute standout that I quite like in that position, in which someone like Selena can do, but obviously he's so inconsistent. That's the biggest down point with him. Plus, obviously, we don't have him anymore. But someone of that ilk.
But would you be putting the call in, Neil? Would you be saying, look, Mustard, I want him back?
Did last season pretty much show that he hasn't got it quite in the locker? What's the point in turning it up for one game of the season?
There'll be some fans sat at home right now disagreeing with you, and some fans sat at home right now agreeing with you. I've never seen a player as much as Bersant did last year sort of split the opinion of, is he our best player, or is he just a player that does show from time to time?
I know there's the fans that will say, you don't need to be in the game all the time. You just need to, do that one little bit of magic. But I remember when we used to say that about, say Dos Santos, he'd be out of the game. You wouldn't be saying he was out of 6 games. He would just be out for 40 minutes doing nothing, and then he'd just pop up and do something.
Yeah.
That's completely different for me.
Yeah. No, I'm fully on board with that. I mean, Bertrand Salina last year, 23 starts, Neil, 6 goals, 6 assists. In a team that struggled to score goals. We're kind of coming back to that conversation we were having a lot on the show last year. What was the cause of the issues? Bertrand not supplying enough balls, or the strikers not being able to finish their dinner. Because for a large portion, don't forget, Macaulay Bond, top goal scorer for a striker, but he didn't score for, what's seemed like a whole season in the end, but obviously wasn't the case.
I know towards the end of the season, just everything that he did at the early part just didn't work out for him. I just know that early on, everything he touched was, perfection, basically. I just remember the balls that came over and he would just bring them under control. And then later on in the season, they just bounced away. And every chance that you thought, he's put that one in, he would end up missing it. Just everything all added together, it just didn't work out.
For contrast, Connor Chaplin, 24 starts, 9 goals, 3 assists. So,
I know the main thing for him is he has put the ball in the net for us at quite important times. That is something he has done, and people
Chaplin?
will love that. Yeah.
He's probably my favourite player, or certainly one of my favourite players, and I want to see him in the team every single week. I think he's a player you really do, and I've been mocked before for saying it, but really do build an attack around. I think he's a fantastic player, and 9 goals, 24 starts, 3 assists, stop, start. And again, could his assists have been better with a better striker or a striker in form? Who really knows? But the fact that he got 3 more goals than big game.
Is he still quite young? I don't know his age.
Chaplin, he's 25. So, not quite entering the peak of his career yet, but he's starting to. A couple of more seasons, and you should be seeing the absolute best of him. So it's a player you want to get playing. Another young player.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I say, I'm not saying he's terrible. Definitely not. He's far from that. He's a busy player and he does good things. But if last season was a stepping stone, or that starting point, and he's going to jump on to better things, use it as a springboard, then if that's the case, then definitely try and get a good team around him and see what he can do. But I feel we need that extra man that's going to bring something special.
Okay, so it's not quite in the building for you at this moment in time.
Not quite.
Okay, love it.
But if he wants to come out of the blocks, absolutely flying next season and go, Neil, here you go, this is what I've got, then I'll be all for it.
As won't we all? Some great comments coming in. Norman, to be fair, Salina was consistent in the last 12 games. A full pre-season could take him to another level. Mike D, I'd still be looking to ship out Penny and bring someone else in at left wing back. Matt Penny for you, Neil. Would you be on the Mike D train here of shipping him out and bringing a new player, or do you think actually as a backup, number 2, maybe even a starter? I don't know. I'm not putting words into your mouth. You think Matt Penny is the guy?
I haven't yet seen the new guy, in which my thoughts on Penny is I hope this new guy is going to be the number 1 choice there, because Penny doesn't quite do it for me.
In what respects? What about, because again, Lewis Robinson sure will be watching this at some point if he's not watching it live, sort of shouting up and down. He's a big Matt Penny fan, so he certainly ticks the boxes for Lewis. But what about Penny that doesn't quite grab you? What makes you say that?
He can be a tidy player, but I'm not really convinced that he is particularly great either going forward or defending. He can do a little bit of both, but we're a team that's trying to, move on and step up, and I just don't see it with him.
Is it defensively that you don't see it? Is it because I think attackingly, the attacking ability of him is pretty good.
Yeah, okay. He is the better of attacking at the two that he can do. Defending, he almost just dangles a foot and tries to get a bit of a block in. But yeah,
Yeah, but I basically just told you could have your dinner cold or lukewarm. It's like, yeah, well, lukewarm's a bit better than cold, but still not hot, is it? Still not what I want from my left back. I feel what you're saying there. I do feel what you're saying there. I do. And many at home again, similar to what we talked about before, will be agreeing with you. Joe Piggott, another player, been mentioned in the chat box quite a bit. I felt sorry for Joe on Saturday. Reminded me a little bit of Caden Jackson at Bury last year, in the sense you felt that the time was expiring. Now, for Caden, that was completely opposite. It worked out in his favour. He kept his head down, nose clean, got on with the task. But that's not an everyday occurrence in football. Where are you on Piggott? Would you looking to ship him out?
I'd say as fans we can be convinced and have our minds changed. We done it with Donasian. He was pretty much most people's opinion to be out the door, and then look at the season he had. And obviously Jackson has put in some good performances of late, and I just think if Piggott is going to knuckle down and if he just gets a bit of luck, and what could ever happen with him, he could have a great season. But do you think with the players we've brought in, take a little bit of weight off his shoulders, he can just start a rhythm, or do you think he's just been pushed to the wayside?
I think he's firmly the third, fourth striker. I mean, Ladapo's come in. Caden Jackson still is obviously signing a new contract extension. If you were to get
a slightly different style of striker, I'd say, though.
If
you need to go for a slightly different way of playing.
I felt he had a couple of nice touches in the first 30 minutes on Saturday. He holds the ball up well, moderately okay. Yeah, he's a little bit different to Freddie Ladapo and Caden Jackson. Is he good enough for what McKenna wants to do with his forwards? That's the big question, and that's where I don't think he quite technically is good enough with how McKenna likes, I think, from watching McKenna's teams, likes to have his strikers play. But, football's a funny old game. As you just said there, one injury, take your chance, and you sort of never look back. Norman says Piggott drops too deep in the number 10 position and lacks the skill and mobility of our other number 10s.
That is something I agree with. Last season he did. He had large portions of the game without really making an impact, and so he'd drop in deep, and sometimes the touch let him down, to be honest.
Yeah, and he doesn't. And as the chat says, they didn't take a penalty at the end. Maybe his confidence is shot. Who knows? I mean, I would never take a penalty either. I hate penalties. Don't take penalties. Full stop, friendly or otherwise. Maybe he's the same. I don't know. No, I can't speak for him, but a confidence thing as a striker is huge, Neil, and it's not worked for him for whatever reason. It's not worked, and it's even the most positive a person can lose their confidence at some point.
Yeah, I always considered myself a bit of a confidence player. When things go well, you just ride that confidence and off you go.
Yeah,
it can even happen in games. You have a few bad touches and your head goes down. Just hope the next one works out. I just hope that things will pick up for him, really.
Yeah, likewise. I know, and any player wearing the blue and white, any player registered to play for our football club, I'm right behind. And hope they do well. Hope they prove me wrong. That's what I'm right behind them. I hope if I'm criticising you, if we're talking about you, it's because we love our club and we pray that you come out and you proved me wrong. I like Aaron Drennan, for example. People will love to mention him to me and tweet me when he does well. Nothing would have made me more happier than seeing Aaron Drennan hit the ground running at Portman Road and score 25 goals, 20 goals, 15 goals. It just wasn't going to happen. But Joe's a different character. Joe's a different player, and who knows sort of where we go from there. We have got a giveaway ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you of such, if we can hit 4,000, we are currently on 3,724 subscribers. It's free to enter. Just hit the subscribe button. There's a giveaway update video on the channel. Go and check it out. Shirts, season tickets, all manner of different things. If we can hit the 4,000, go and check it out on the giveaway update. Basically, if we hit 4,000, Cruncher will buy 2 season tickets to be used within the community on a game-by-game basis. Lewis Robinson will give away a shirt. It's all kicking off, but we've got to get 4,000 by the 30th of July. So 33 days away. We are 33 days away from the start of the season. That's about 8.36 subscribers. So tell your wife, your partner, your mother, your brother, your father, your husband, your sister, the dog, the cat, the gerbil, the gid. I mean, I've got about 70 budgies, so I could probably do 70 of that myself. Budgie 1, Budgie 2, Budgie 3. So that's when they all start tweeting in, though, Neil, and start trolling me. That's when I'm gonna have the issues, really.
Quite a few of those you mentioned. If you're from Norfolk, they're the same thing.
Procrastinating Womble. Views are their own, not of the network. If Piggett needs games, if he choose 2 or 3 or 4, then it won't work. All teams would love a Solskjaer. Talking of fans, Neil, 16,000 season ticket holders. 16,000. I mean, we sometimes struggle to get above 14 for Mick McCarthy in the league above. Why are people buying?
Yeah, but that was Mick McCarthy.
Okay, so what about here and the now? 3rd tier of English football, 11th last season. What from your perspective as somebody obviously who themselves has wandered, come back, etc., etc. What's the big draw at the moment? What's the feeling, the feel good factor from those that are perhaps like yourself coming back into the fold and are not blinded by the ins and the outs on the day-to-day basis?
Look, see, when I really first started watching Ipswich, we were a good, well-styled team, and we lost our way a bit, really. And yeah, I feel that we're trying to make a turning point. We've got a young manager who has his good ideas, and we're all just getting excited to see what happens. And yeah, I think that's where we are, and a lot of fans are happy with what they saw last season at the end there, and yeah, hoping that this season will be a springboard, and we can go that step beyond and make our way out of this division.
Absolutely. Mike D, change of culture and ambition. What are your I mean, Lee Anderson says 16,000.
I believe,
tongue in cheek, of course, but go on,
I believe the new owners have also helped with some of our turnaround. The atmosphere has definitely changed.
In what regard?
I feel we had lost our way as a club under Evans, and how we felt it was being run. That's sort of in the past now. We don't need to go too far into that, but I feel that the new owners have, they've got slightly different ideas and way of going about it, and I think it aligns slightly better with how we are as fans.
Yeah, I think that's really topical as well. Obviously, this weekend we had the Mark Steed in town, and that's a really good point you've sort of raised there, right on the money. George has heard we want McGoldrick on a 1-year deal. I've not heard that, but if he's right, are you deal or no deal?
Well, we have to get the one that's not going to. It is him who was travelling long distances, and that was the reason for all of his injuries.
Correct.
So yeah, he'd have to move down here and not do all that ridiculous driving.
But do you think that's actually the difference now? That the club, as it is now, would almost insist that the club now wouldn't allow that type of situation if it was affecting the player as reported it was?
Well, it's a ridiculous scenario to find yourself in, but I suppose if, as a player, he had his family wherever it was, and without knowing the full ins and outs, it sounds silly on the outside, but I think, yeah, as you say, now we're a club who would have these strict ideas on how they want it to be run, and I think they should stick to it.
just can't imagine McKenna or Ashton or the club, sort of just accepting that now, because I mean, we don't know the full effect on what the travel was having. We don't know. We're not on the inside. We'll never know for sure. But as suggested, as rumored, as whispered, it couldn't have been helping. If there was even a 5% chance, I just can't see the current.
It was strange. As soon as the next season, he was a completely different player. Yeah,
he has stayed fit. But I mean, I liked Dids. I think he was a cut above when we had him. I think he'd be a cut above now. Is he the profile though for what McKenna wants to do? Because you look at what the big word out of Portman Road this year has been profile. Athletic players. Is he athletic? Is he a striker that you think? Oh, athletic.
No, is he more along the lines of a number 10?
Selena type. Yeah, ball at feet, tricky, drop a shoulder. I mean, the old Did's shoulder. Oh, I've missed seeing that. The old shoulder in slow motion. Those were good times, man.
Is he more, the 1 year hoping he stays fit sort of player, or do we go for? I know you are reaching a little bit to hope for, the absolute magic within, our division and a reasonable spending.
We were at a wedding last night, right? And there's I'm not going to say the location of the place that was mentioned, but a place was mentioned. And I think with ex-players, it's very much like the favourite bar you had growing up. There's always that risk to go back, except you go back when you're perhaps like we are now in our early 30s, and that bar is nothing like you remembered. It's horrible, effectively, but you want to go back there because the memory of it is of you enjoying it as a young teen, a late teen, early 20s, which draws you back. There is a risk with the old players, isn't there? Where I just thought there, McGoldrick dropped the shoulder. Oh, great times. But will that be the same the second go round? Probably not. But it's the nostalgia
that was similar.
That brings you
back.
That's
similar to Pablo, wasn't it? He was never quite the same second time around. Still had his bit of magic. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but he wasn't the one we had first time around, was he?
Well, do you know what? I've seen so many players. It's tough for me to say yay or nay on that. But he certainly, I can see where you're probably coming from. I'd be interested to find out actually how many players the second time around were just as good, if not better, than the first time they were at a football club.
Obviously, Walter's last time he came.
Yeah, and I'm also not talking a player that was there, at 16, never played a single game, released, comes back as a megastar. A bit like if we'd signed, Pope, which obviously we haven't, and we wouldn't do. But this player has to have played, I don't know, at least a season and a season's worth of games for that to qualify. Let me know, chat. I'd love to know if you could think of anybody that sort of, played 30 or more games, gone away, come back, a bigger success the second time than the first. George Reed says Democrat is going to Middlesbrough, quite possibly so. It was a comment from George Hug. We're just discussing it. I've not seen it either way mentioned. Coxey, Pablo is the cheaper option second time around. Town couldn't afford Jeffers. So you are, yeah, there you go. See, Coxey straight on in there with you. Before we start our meet the series with Cruncher sitting down with Bristol Rovers fan Charlie, Neil, League One beckons for another season. I'm going to try and get your top three because you're not often on a Monday show. You are obviously a part of our Tuesday stalwart team. I've got two questions. First of all, who's your top three sides going to be this year? And the second question is the Tuesday night games you're most looking forward to. And my God, what a delightfully good set.
What a pick out.
Oh, I know. We'll run through them in a second. But here is your League One team for this season. Or not team, sorry. Table for this season.
Top three, yeah.
Who's your top three going to be out of those bad boys then, Neil?
I think it's quite difficult. There's a few names that were up there, and it sort of depends on what ends up happening with Derby. But surely Sheffield Wednesday, they're really going to won it this year, the same as we are.
Made
And
some great signings, haven't they? They've made some Rotherham fans cry on social media. I know you probably won't have seen that because you're not on socials, but yes, they've made some Rotherham fans really sort of,
yeah.
Right.
Obviously, the Dons will want to try and make that step, and Peterborough are going to want to bounce back, aren't they?
Yeah, so Wednesday, MK Dons and Peter. I mean, there are three teams that people would absolutely say. With the MK Dons, though, Neil, what they do consistently is astonishing. They take players, make them better, sell them for high fees, right? Then go and get the next young set of players and do it all over again. But surely at some point, you have to have at least one bad transfer window where you don't quite get it right. Surely you can't keep doing it time and time again. I mean, it's a phenomenal job that they do there, but the odds suggest, don't they? At least one has got to be bad.
Or do you look at it also that maybe there has to be a season where you don't sell the player, you hold on to them, you progress on a bit, because that model is a little bit of, turnover. You want that solid basis, surely, to push on.
Yeah, it's what they do, though, is phenomenal. And I can see why you've mentioned them. Good coach, good recruitment. It's just, maybe at Ipswich, it only ever goes wrong. I don't know. But it's phenomenal what they do. We've got Daryl Murphy said his best run till last, says Owen. But technically, was that his third attempt at the club, Neil? I mean, we had him on loan, 2 or 3 times before he signed in permanently.
Yeah,
so, is he disqualified under the fact he was here for about 5 stints?
Yeah, there were several loans before the permanent, wasn't there?
Where Paul Jewell played him out on the wide and the left. I mean, up here for thinking, down there for dancing. Lee Anderson says Ipswich. Norman, for fuck's sake, Ipswich the 13th, McKenna out. Absolutely, Norman. 13th, but below teams like Forest Green and Fleetwood and Exeter. Disgusting, I completely agree. Turbotic, Wednesday, Peterborough and Ipswich are his top 3 sides. All right,
They're the 3 I was about to say. I think Wednesday have just got it. I was going to say us above Peterborough, but it's still them 3.
I think it's going to be, in some ways, it's a tougher test this year, the top 6 teams, because there's some big teams coming down, and Peterborough.
Well, there's teams I hadn't mentioned. You've also got your Wickham and Plymouth, Bolton, Portsmouth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Portsmouth, absolutely. Oxford, they always seem to be there or thereabouts inside the top 8. Lincoln, only a couple of years ago, playoff.
Yeah, but they were slightly lower this last season, weren't they?
But new manager, Mark Kennedy, ex-Townie. It's a tough league. This is the result of money in football, isn't it? Because the Championship's very competitive. And what you're getting now, basically, is the League One equivalent of the Championship, where the teams that couldn't quite financially have muscle in the Championship are now in this level, and you've got some big teams.
Yeah, and as we're sort of describing, that it is a little bit of a level playing field. Almost anyone can perform on their day, and it's interesting to see how it's gonna play out.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got 2 questions coming in from the chat to pose to you before we come to the Tuesday nights. We have got George Reed. Would you have Jack Marriott back at Ipswich? For those that are unaware, or perhaps yourself, he's at Peterborough, 27 years of age, 16 starts in the Championship last year, 9 goals. 9 goals. I'm not seeing it linked anywhere. I think it's just a question that George is asking.
An ex-Ipswich player, coming back. Not for me. I think the way we're looking, I suppose sometimes you need, say, a slightly older player to help the others, but I think we're going for pace, aren't we? And a bit of on the break and all that sort of thing. I think we can do better down that scenario than getting someone like Jack Marriott. But
so
he has been known for putting the ball in the back of the net. That is sometimes something what we're lacking, but not for me.
It's an upgrade on Piggott, I would say. but I wouldn't. He's not an upgrade on. Well, I can't really say I've not really seen much of Ladapo, but guaranteed Jack Marriott will score a 93rd minute winner against Town at some point this year. Just, it's already in the stars. Do you know what I mean? Just take it and move on. Jason Clayton, club going cashless. Thoughts? So the club have announced they're going to be a cashless stadium. I thought they already were, but a cashless stadium, except for the program kiosk, I think. What are your thoughts on that? So is this a part of a wider drive of society to try and just make cash redundant almost?
For me, it's not much of a problem. I think ever since COVID, most people have been used to just using the cards anyway. So, yeah, it's
true.
It saves, the transfer of cash and having to store it and then, process it. But it's just easier on card.
Yeah, and I can confirm for those at home, I will have a card machine next year as well. So, don't worry. You can still donate to Talking Town, or just use the link available now. Oh, and Planet Blue, says Coxie. Last two questions before we bring in Mr. Richard Moss, who is in discussions with Charlie. First of all, Neil, your Tuesday night fixtures next year are Burton away, Bristol Rovers at home, Bristol Rovers away, Port Vale at home, and Port Vale away. The fixtures gods have been kind. What are you most looking forward to at that?
They're going to be some great games, aren't they?
Oh, scintillating stuff there. Which are you most looking forward to? Which one's, really, you crossing it over your diary thinking, yeah, Tuesday night crew.
I had a sort of a little bit of a look to, and I was thinking, well, Burton 1-1 and we 1-1 last season. So it's a bit of that game could go either way. I guess early on in the season, we weren't at our best. So that was when they got us. Bristol Rovers, they've had some good score lines last season, but obviously that was in the division below. It'll be interesting to see how they can push on from that. And Port Vale, I think we should be beating Port Vale. No offence to them, but yeah, I think it's between Burton and Bristol Rovers for me. And like I say, I think maybe Bristol Rovers will be the good one.
I'd be very upset if we're not unbeaten. I'm not saying winning everyone, but if we're not unbeaten coming into the season on that Tuesday night slate. Because
I'd be disappointed if we weren't, but football's football, and
true. True. But absolutely.
If they want it more, and
well, they shouldn't want it more. That's something I can't accept. The club, the culture, if it truly is changing, those times have also changed. Emerson in the chat, real pleasure to meet you on Saturday again and speak with you. Hope you enjoyed the game. Neil, before I bring in Mr. Moss, what are your expectations for this season?
I just want the positivity to carry on, and when we're in that stadium, I want to hear the roar that we used to get, and see some good football.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you can go contactless with Ipswich buses across all routes in Ipswich. They've got an app you can download, and fares, in a cost of living crisis, fares are actually phenomenal. Single £1.30, return £2.20, an all-day adult ticket £4.70. So don't get stuck in a jam. Don't get stuck in a traffic queue. Don't get stuck outside Portman Road after a match day. Go on the bus with Ipswich buses, contactless across all routes, enjoy a couple of pints, see 3 points, meet the Gov, say hello to Mr. Positivity, who I hear will also be there a lot more next year. Shock, horror, I know. That's what marriage does to you. Get your own way eventually. And go contactless with Ipswich buses. Right, Neil, a pleasure speaking with you this evening. But coming in now is Mr. Moss with our... Oh, hello. I've set the video too early.
Hello again.
I'll come there just a second. But no, Rich sat down with Rovers fan Charlie to discuss Bristol Rovers, their return to League One, and what we as Town fans can expect to see from one of the new boys. So, Neil, appreciate you to support us by subscribing and, of course, donate as well.
To Talking Town meets. So you signed a couple of players this week, haven't you? Signed Jordan Rossiter and you've signed James Gibbons. Tell me...
Yeah.
What's a little bit about them two? I know Jordan Rossiter he was at Liverpool, wasn't he? I know about him.
Yeah, he was at Liverpool. Scored on his debut back in 2014. He was Academy Player of the Year in 2014 as well. Been at Rangers, didn't quite work out. And then he was actually at Rangers when Barton was still playing, funnily enough. And then Barton, when he was at Fleetwood, he brought him into the club. A quality player, but he has been injured quite a bit, which is a bit worrying. And we've actually paid a fee, believed to be around 100,000 as well for him. But on his day, he's a quality player. Just hopefully, once he gets a full Barton pre-season in this summer, then hopefully he can do well. And then, yeah, he's basically a DM / box-to-box player. And then, yeah, last night, there are rumours a day before that we were linked to him. Someone told me that we were going to sign him, and obviously we did. And, yeah, James Gibbons, who is preferably a right-back, but he can play in a back three. He's played wing-back a lot for Port Vale because that's what formation they play, a 3-5-2. And, yeah, Port Vale fans were very, very gutted that he's left. He's been there, come through the academy there, made over 140 appearances, and yeah, looks to be a good player. And he was on a free. He rejected a new contract as well to move to us.
So any other signings in the pipeline? I did give you a little steer, didn't I? Maybe James Norwood, possibly?
Yeah, there's been a lot of, especially in the last few days. We've been linked with him a lot in the past. I think we were linked with him when he was at Forest Green in the National League. But yeah, a lot of rumours with Norwood, a lot of rumours with Callum Camps, who another one Barton had bought him to Fleetwood.
Yeah, he's at Fleetwood.
And Luke McCormick as well is another one who we had on loan.
Wimbledon, he's at Wimbledon now at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, Wimbledon had a very good season last year.
Yeah, good player.
So yeah, but apart from that,
so yeah, if Norwood comes in, he will he'll score goals. He's a good finisher at this level. I think the link with Joey Barton, he's good friends with Joey Barton. I think when he was at Fleetwood, Charlie, I think there was rumours that he might go there, but I think he was only at town, so they couldn't obviously afford him. But he's probably the type of striker that you need. Joey Barton, I've always rated him. Think he's a good manager. He's obviously comes with a bit of history. What does he bring to the table? You know, he's done well for you, but it didn't really start that well, did it, last season for him?
No. Well, he actually come in. He come in League One, so he technically was manager of us when we got relegated. But he didn't have a transfer window. He tried his best with the absolute dross we had in that relegation season with the COVID. But then, yeah, last season, even me, I was very angry at stages, but I think it was just a way fans react, especially if you're losing a lot of the games and the performances were terrible. But he did bring in over 20 players. He basically got rid of most of the team that he had with the relegation season. So, yeah, brought in loads of players. It took us, obviously, quite a while to get going. But then, yeah, once we got going, it was amazing, really. And obviously he's there. He's obviously says it how it is. But I think a lot of players like that. You know, a lot of the players he's brought in, like the Scouse players as well. Probably half of our squad is. Well, yeah, it was different actually. Last season, in the summer, we first game of the season, and for a lot of the season up till about December time, we were playing a 3-5-2, really 3-4-1-2, however you want to call it, with three at the back, and it just wasn't working because we didn't have actual wing backs. We were basically playing, and it is different. It is a lot different from say if you're playing a 5 at the back with a natural left back. At wing back, it's still very different, and it was the same on the right hand side. We got in Harry Anderson. He was one of our great signings last year from Lincoln, who was a winger, but Barton was playing him as a right wing back, and it just. I think
a lot of them they try to do that now. They're like a winger, and they do try and turn them into a wing back, don't they? Obviously, we had Wes Burns. Obviously, we had Wes Burns. We were lucky, you know, because he's really. Yeah. He was our shining light last season, but they do try that now to sort of adapt to don't they?
Yeah, but it just didn't work. We we looked far too open. It was so easy. Like I remember, I think it was in November, maybe October, where there was 3 games in a row at home. We lost 3-1 3 times in a row to Orient, Newport, and Swindon, and it just wasn't working. But then, out of nowhere, really.
Was he under pressure then with the fans?
Yeah. It was terrible. I still remember now. There was videos. A lot of people, including myself, wanted him sacked. I think that was maybe a little bit of an overreaction. But yeah, I remember on Twitter there was this video, and the game, I think it was Leyton Orient at home. We just battered 3-1. We were terrible, and everyone, they were swearing. Everyone was Barton out, go back to Liverpool, swearing at him, and Barton was saying, but it was the funny thing though. There was a game, the most, probably one of the worst games early on, was in the first month or so. We had Exeter away, right, and we were going there obviously pretty confident, quite a local game for us. And after 25 minutes, we were 4-0 down. So they absolutely battered us. We got 1 goal back, but absolutely battered us. Could have been 7-0, honestly. And then after that game on the radio, he said, we're still getting promoted, which at the time I was raging and people were raging, but obviously it happened in the end. But I think, it took time to get going, but then once it did, it was good. But he changed it to basically a 4-2-3-1, but almost playing as a 4-2-3-1, but the main striker, as in Collins, was playing as sort of a false 9. So our wingers were bombing on, and then Collins would drop back and feed balls through. But even Collins, it was crazy. He's sort of like Telford, where Telford ended the season poorly, but Collins didn't score. Yeah,
he was on fire at the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, Collins didn't score for the first 18 games, and then he ended the season on 18 goals. Which is crazy. But yeah, 4-2-3-1.
Would you say he's your key player then, looking ahead to this season?
Yeah, him and Anthony Evans. Anthony Evans is another one.
Did you sign a new contract, did I see? Evans?
Yeah, signed a 3-year contract. Yeah. A lot of us were, because he signed on a 1-year deal, having not really done a lot. I think the season before he was at Crewe on loan from Paderborn. He's an ex-Everton player as well. Again, Scouse. But yeah, he not really, like before this season, he hadn't scored over 2 goals in a season and not really done much. And then last season for us, he got, I think it was 12 goals and 12 assists or something crazy like that. And he was amazing. So yeah, I'd say him, Evans and Collins are 2, most influential players.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you were saying there, like, Joe, after you have to look, don't you? And it's a long season. When you think of it, like you say after that game, when he's saying, "No, we're going to get promoted," and like you're probably, all of your fans are saying, probably thinking he's talking rubbish. But and then in the end,
it looks good. But the only thing, if you don't know, a lot of people obviously won't know, but we haven't won an opening day fixture for 10 years. Which is crazy, but it's a good. It looks an easier start. I think Forest Green at home looks very good, especially with their players. They've lost a lot of players, brought in sort of a few players, but I think they're obviously going to be down there. I think personally. So yeah, it looks a good fixture on opening day for sure.
So we've got them. That's our first away game. Talk to us about. Have you been to the new lawn?
Yes, absolutely.
Tell all our fans what it's like.
all I'm saying is good luck, because it's terrible. It's obviously, it's just going to be crazy. Even like when teams like Sheffield Wednesday,
it's a village, isn't it? It's in a place called Nailsworth, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a little village. Obviously, they've been down in the depths, haven't they, of National League, and so you're not going to expect it's going to be that good. And obviously, you've got all your vegan stuff, but with us, like we couldn't even go to a pub. Like there was a pub.
Is there any pubs around the ground anywhere?
There is, but they didn't let away fans in for us anyway. So it's a terrible away day, but one to have a little eye opener for sure. meant to be changing it up. They're actually apparently they're meant to be putting the away fans under the just behind the goal. They're meant to be moving all the away fans underneath.
They're doing that stand. I mean, is that like a temporary stand? Is it behind the goal there?
Well, it was meant to be temporary, but it's been like that for years now. They've just
is it temporary? Is it been longer a temporary stand than Gillingham's stand? That's temporary since about 2002.
I think less than that, but it's still it has still been like that for a long time. But yeah, it's going to be again. It's going to be interesting. When you come to us or all the Ipswich and even obviously Wednesday had been there before. I think that's the only bad thing. The last time we played Sheffield Wednesday as well in League One, I think they got promoted and we got relegated, which is interesting. I think that was back in 2010-11, I'm pretty sure. So, but yeah, it's going to be an eye-opener. I don't know if you've ever been to the Rovers Stadium or not.
I got tickets when you were in League One before, and then COVID hit. So that was literally when the season stopped there. I had them, and then obviously I didn't come. But I'll definitely be coming down in February. I'll get the day off. Don't worry, I'll be there. Looking forward to coming down and looking forward to hopefully taking 3 points off you, which would be very kind.
We were me and my other co-host and obviously the other fans. I done a stream the other night, and we were talking about it as well. For me, I'd say top half finish. Top half finish.
You're a big club. Bristol Rovers are a massive club. I think people need to realise that. Bristol, obviously Bristol City as well, but you're a big club. You take good. Well, I see like last season when you were going away there, and I know you were doing well at the end of the season, which helps. But you were selling out away ends when you were going all around the country, weren't you? Yeah.
I mean, we've always had a really good away following. Obviously, at home it ranges from 7,000 to 10,000. Obviously, depending on how well you're doing it. Like every other club, if you're doing not that well, then it's going to be lower. If you're doing well, then it's going to be. But we were. It was crazy. We took like 4,000 to Rochdale last season, 3,000 to Vale.
That was another fantastic game, wasn't it? Rochdale away.
Yeah, Rochdale away when we were 3-1.
3-1 down.
3-1 down, and we ended up winning 4-3. So it's going to be interesting. And obviously, us coming to you, it gives me sort of bad and good memories at the same time, because the last time obviously we played you, we were fourth in the league, fourth in League One, and we beat you 2-1. When obviously the last time there was fans in.
Yeah. James Norwood scored that day. I remember.
James Norwood.
2-0 up. You went 2-0 up early, didn't you?
Yeah, 2-0 up. Obviously,
what was your manager? What was your manager then? Because that was his last game. He went to Mansfield, didn't he?
Yeah. That's when it started going bad for us.
Where is he now, Charlie?
He was at Sheffield United under 21s or under 23s doing like a.
When he left and you were doing really well, I just thought that was a really, really. I know Mansfield had a bit of money, but I thought that was a real strange move.
Honestly, it was the start of sliding down, because like you said, we were there. That was an amazing day. Obviously, we beat you, and then on the way home, obviously we've seen his interview after the game. We was like, "What's going on?" He was saying, because that team, quite frankly, because that obviously that was when we had Clark Harris, but he didn't play that game. I think he was injured, and we had quite not the best team. People were moaning like, "Oh, it's not the best football." But how can you moan when you're fourth in League One? And that was sort of like, what was that? Late December time, or just before?
I can't remember. I reckon about November time. That was.
Maybe November, yeah. But close to Christmas. The January transfer window, but he thought he wasn't gonna get backed, basically. But it was just so weird. Like after the highs of that game, and then going home, and then I think all the players come in the service station on the way home, and everyone was like, "Where's Graham Coughlin gone?" And he went there, and he was going straight to Mansfield. There you go. Then we brought in, of course, Ben Garner. Yeah. Didn't work. I think we ended up going from 4th to 16th.
So
and then
he'll be revisiting. He'll be revisiting your next season with Charlton.
Charlton as well. Yeah, and of course he goes. Of course he goes to a team where we haven't won at the Valley since like 1961 or something crazy like that. So, but yeah, that was the downturn when Coughlin left.
So you say you're happy with mid-table. What do you think for Town? Where do you think we'll sort of end up this season? Because obviously this is our 4th season in League One, and when we come down, Charlie, all our fans were saying we're on a League One tour. It's going to be 100 points. It's going to be 100 goals, and we've not made the playoffs in 3 seasons. So how do you think Town will do this season?
I mean, last season, I think I said for Ipswich to win the league. This season, I should imagine. I reckon top 2.
So you've got Forest Green to start with, Burton Albion away. Tough place to go with Jimmy Floyd.
Yeah. To be fair, though, I reckon they're going to struggle this season.
Yeah, I think he always does well there, Hasselbank. I think it's sort of he's obviously been to other clubs and he didn't really fit, and that fits him. Then you've got Oxford at home,
yeah,
and then you've got your next 3. You've got Barnsley away, then you've got Portsmouth away, and then you've got Shrewsbury at home. So that's a tough opening for you. Them two, like your 3 away games. I think you could get a result at Burton, but if you get anything out of Barnsley and Portsmouth, I think it's obviously look. Any team in this league, you've got to get your home form. If you get your home form sort of in order, and then you pick up your odd sort of points and wins here and there on your travels, mate, I think you'll be quite happy with that.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing about us in the sort of last, obviously apart from the relegation season. Before that, our away form has been very, very good. Because even like you look at, obviously I know it's different, but even last season we finished 15 home games unbeaten. So yeah, I think I'd probably say 9 points out of them first 5 or first 6 games. But it is very tough, like you said. The Burton and Forest Green, I think will win. And then because that's the thing, you don't really, obviously looking at it now, you don't really know what to think. Even Portsmouth, you know, they're obviously going to be up there, but you don't know how they're going to be sort of looking. I think it's better if you play them early.
And that was Rich in conversation with Run Rovers Vlogs. Charlie, getting to know Bristol Rovers. Hopefully Forest Green Rovers up next on Wednesday, possibly. So if you've got any questions for the fan of FGR, maybe you want to know about the pitch, I don't know, anything, just let me know. You got us on our socials. If not, email homedressingroom89@gmail.com or leave a comment in this video and I will find it. Do not forget, we are back Wednesday 8:30 as always. We have our YouTuber subscriber giveaway, shirt giveaway, cricket show tomorrow at 9 p.m. with Rich and the gang. I will be producing that one, so as always a first class show. But for now, this has been Talking Town Extra Time. I am the Gov. You are lovely. We love you. Appreciate it. Support us through Ko-Fi. And we'll see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. for Talking Cricket, or Wednesday for our Wednesday show. See you then.